5 fantasy books topping the charts right now. Hello bookworms, welcome back to the channel. Today we're embarking on a literary journey through the 5 fantasy books defining the genre in 2025. These aren't just stories, they are entire worlds with characters that feel like old friends. We'll be soaring through the sky on the backs of dragons, deciphering cryptic prophecies, and even exploring the cozy, magical world of Enchanted jam. So, grab your comfiest blanket, brew a cup of tea, and prepare to add 5 new obsessions to your to-be-read pile. It's an invitation to lose yourself in narratives that are intellectually stimulating and emotionally resonant. We'll explore why these stories have captured the collective imagination of readers everywhere. These are the books that will be all over your social media feeds. So, whether you're a seasoned fantasy veteran or a newcomer, this list has something for you. Each of these books offers a unique escape. Are you ready? Let's turn the page. Our journey begins at the Basgiath War College, where it's fly or die. We meet Violet Sorengale, not your typical Dragon Rider candidate. Small and physically challenged, she's the last person you'd expect to survive. Forced into the Riders Quadrant by her mother, General Sorengale, she faces a death sentence. Survival is the only lesson. Every corner of Basgiath is danger, and the dragons could incinerate her. Violet must fight with her mind and unbreakable spirit. Of course, it wouldn't be a Dragon Rider Academy without dragons. During the threshing, cadets present themselves to the dragons. Violet bonds with Tern, one of the most powerful black dragons in existence, and Andana, a golden feathertail. Then there's Zayden, wing leader of the 4th Wing, everything Violet has been taught to hate. The tension between them is electric. Their dynamic is the stuff of legend. Violet realizes the dangers at Basgiath are not in the sparring ring. The histories are filled with omissions. 4th Wing becomes a political thriller. Violet is pulled into a world of secrets and lies. The kingdom's security is a fiction. Fairy tales are real, and the government pretends they don't exist. The government is hiding a shadow war, and this revelation recontextualizes everything for Violet. This forces Violet into an impossible position, and she must decide where her allegiance truly lies. Welcome to Year 2 at Basgiath, where the stakes have been raised to an impossible height. If you thought 4th Wing was intense, Iron Flame grabs you from the first page and puts you through a veritable torture chamber. Violet Sorengale may have survived her first year, bonded with 2 extraordinary dragons, and started to unravel the government's darkest secrets, but her trials are far from over. The powers that be are not pleased with her survival, her questions, or her very public association with Zayden Riorson. They see her not as a hero, but as a liability to be controlled or eliminated. Enter the new Vice Commandant Varish. This man is less of a teacher and more of a walking instrument of torment, seemingly handpicked to make Violet's life a living hell. His lessons are nothing short of torture, designed to break her spirit and push her to her absolute limits. He isolates her, pits her classmates against her, and creates drills so brutal they feel like targeted assassination attempts. His goal is clear: to discover the extent of Violet's power and the secret she's keeping, namely her connection to Zayden and the rebellion. The atmosphere at the college becomes suffocating. Every friendly face could be an informant, every assignment a trap. Varish's presence casts a dark shadow over everything, turning the environment into a paranoid nightmare. Violet is forced to become even more cunning, hiding her evolving powers and her secret communications with Zayden, who is now stationed at a remote outpost. The physical toll is immense, but the psychological warfare is even more draining as Varish manipulates her fears and insecurities, particularly those surrounding her physical frailty. This section is a relentless exploration of endurance. It's about holding on to your convictions when an entire system is designed to crush them. Violet's pain, both chronic and inflicted, is a constant companion, but her resolve only hardens. She learns to shield her thoughts, to fight dirtier, and to trust her instincts above all else. The lessons from Varish, intended to break her, inadvertently forge her into a formidable weapon, one that Navarre's corrupt leadership will come to regret creating. The tension is wound so tight, you can feel it with every turn of the page. While Violet is enduring Varish's personal brand of hell within the walls of Basgiath, the larger threat she uncovered begins to escalate dramatically. The magical wards that protect Navarre, powered by the collective energy of the dragons, are failing. The illusion of safety is crumbling at the edges, and the evidence is becoming impossible to ignore. Reports of Venin attacks, once dismissed as rumors, are now coming from closer to the heart of the kingdom. The Shadow War is stepping into the light, and the government's lies are wearing dangerously thin. This growing crisis directly impacts life at the college. The Venin are not just a distant threat, their influence begins to seep into the very fabric of their world. The failing wards lead to instability, strange magical phenomena, and a palpable sense of dread that permeates the entire continent. Violet, armed with this forbidden knowledge, watches in horror as the leadership continues to double down on their deception, sending cadets on missions that are essentially suicide runs against an enemy they pretend doesn't exist. The weight of knowing the truth while being powerless to act is a crushing burden. Amidst this chaos and impending doom, Violet's own power continues to evolve in unpredictable ways. Her signet, the ability to wield lightning, grows in strength and ferocity, becoming more difficult to control. It's a direct reflection of the turmoil within and around her. This raw, untamed power is both her greatest weapon and her greatest liability, drawing even more unwanted attention from Varish. Her connection with Theon and Andarna deepens, becoming her anchor in the storm as they frantically try to help her master her abilities before they consume her. And then, in a moment that set the entire bookish internet ablaze, we get the kiss. During a violent thunderstorm, a moment of pure chaos and high emotion, Xaden makes a dramatic return. On Dragonback, silhouetted against the storm-racked sky, with lightning literally crackling in the air around them, they share a kiss that is desperate, passionate, and utterly epic. It's a moment of pure cinematic romantic fantasy, a brief, beautiful supernova of defiance against a world that is trying to tear them apart. It's the kind of scene that becomes instantly iconic, a perfect fusion of danger, magic, and heart-stopping romance. The climax of Iron Flame is an absolute onslaught. The simmering conflict boils over as the failing wards finally give way, leading to a full-scale invasion. The Venin and their wyvern creations, no longer a shadowy myth, descend upon the outpost of Resson, where many of Violet's friends and allies are stationed. The battle that ensues is brutal, chaotic, and devastating. All the training, all the political maneuvering comes down to this desperate fight for survival against an overwhelming, life-draining force. Violet and her fellow riders are thrust onto the front lines of the war that their leaders swore didn't exist. It is here that Violet's power truly awakens. Pushed beyond every conceivable limit, watching her friends fall, she unleashes the full, untamed fury of her lightning. It's a spectacle of raw, elemental power, a storm of her own making that arcs between Tainn's mighty form and the enemy forces. She becomes the very Tempest, a beacon of terrifying power on the battlefield. This is the moment she fully sheds the identity of the fragile scribe and embraces her power as a rider, not for the glory of Navarre, but for the people she loves. It's a visceral, breathtaking display of her growth and potential. But victory in this world always comes at a cost. The battle for Resson is won, but the losses are catastrophic. Friends are lost, the true scale of the Venin threat is laid bare, and the survivors are left scarred and shaken. In the aftermath, the rebellion's hand is forced. The secret war is now open. The book ends not with a quiet resolution, but with a profound sacrifice and a shocking cliffhanger that completely redefines the stakes. Xaden, in a desperate act to save Violet and turn the tide of the battle, is forced to draw power from a forbidden source, teetering on the edge of becoming the very thing they are fighting against. This ending leaves the reader utterly breathless. Just as Violet finds her strength, her anchor Xaden is compromised. The line between hero and monster blurs, and the personal cost of this war becomes devastatingly clear. Iron Flame masterfully expands the world and the conflict, raising the personal and political stakes to an almost unbearable level. It leaves Violet and the reader standing on the precipice of an even darker, more uncertain future, solidifying the series as a true modern fantasy epic that is as emotionally devastating as it is exhilarating. So, we've survived Basgiath, endured the threshing, and even made it through Iron Flame. What could possibly be next? Onyx Storm is where the stakes are raised. The wards are failing, the Venin are on the move, and the entire continent is teetering on the brink of a war. Violet is right at the heart of it all. Basgiath is now a place Violet must leave behind. She's on a mission to forge alliances and rally armies. This is where the world building just explodes in the most spectacular way. Violet has to navigate intricate political webs. She's not just fighting a war of swords and sorcery, she's fighting a war of information. And can we just talk about the sheer pressure on this girl? It's a step into the unknown that is both terrifying and utterly thrilling. Human politics are messy, but dragon society is even more dramatic. They're an ancient, powerful civilization with hierarchies, laws, and traditions. Their political councils are as cutthroat as anything on the ground. The dragons have opinions about the Venin, the wards, and humans. Imagine a council held on a windswept peak, attended by creatures the size of buildings. Theon is there, along with other ancient powerful dragons. There are factions, rivalries, and decisions that alter the war. They are a power in their own right, holding the world's fate in their claws. Violet is a witness to the dragon's internal struggles. Andarna plays a crucial role, a symbol of change. Her bond with Violet becomes a bridge between dragon and humankind. The Dragon Council sections are pure epic fantasy. Alright, let's get to the bit we've all been waiting for. The magic, the battles, the sheer jaw-dropping spectacle. If you thought Iron Flame was intense, Onyx Storm dials it up to 11, then breaks the knob off. As the Venom threat grows, the battles become larger, more desperate, and more devastating. We're talking about full-scale assaults, where the sky is thick with wings and the ground trembles with clashing armies. The Venom are terrifying, relentless, and every victory comes at a heart-wrenching cost. The climax of this book will be seared into your brain for years to come. A scene that makes the Battle of Helm's Deep look like a minor disagreement. Picture this, a desperate last stand, heroes surrounded, Venom hordes pouring in, all hope seems lost, and then dragons unleash their ultimate power. We get a climactic 5-dragon elemental blast, 5 of the most powerful dragons combining their unique abilities in one cataclysmic attack. It's a storm of fire, ice, lightning, and forces we haven't seen yet. A symphony of destruction to turn the tide of war. The sheer visual is breathtaking. You feel the searing heat, the biting cold, the static crackle on your skin. Pure, unadulterated epic fantasy power that is incredibly earned. The culmination of everything building, alliances forged, powers honed, sacrifices made. Not just a magic trick. A desperate, defiant roar against the dying light. Dragon and Rider fighting as one with the elements themselves. Without a doubt, one of the most spectacular set pieces I've ever read. Even in this immense power, the emotional core remains. The blast has consequences, not just for the battlefield, but for those who unleash it. Power comes with a price, and this cost is immense. A climactic moment that encapsulates the series' breathtaking action with personal stakes. It will leave you breathless, probably sobbing, desperate for the next book. Onyx Storm isn't just a bridge, it's a war cry. A masterpiece of tension that makes this series a modern fantasy classic. Right then, let's pivot to something more atmospheric. Imagine a city cloaked in a fine, silvery mist, where cobblestone streets glisten under the perpetual twilight and ancient secrets whisper from every shadowed archway. This is the world of The Night and the Moth, a book that feels like curling up with a cup of Earl Grey on a rainy day. Our story centers on Stonewater, a city plucked directly from a forgotten fairy tale, complete with talking gargoyles. Into this setting steps Sybil, a seer whose visions are as much a curse as they are a gift. It's a classic fantasy setup, but with a delicious melancholic twist. When members of Sybil's own order begin to vanish without a trace, Sybil cannot simply let it go. And this is where our titular knight comes in, a runaway figure haunted by his own past. Their partnership is one of necessity, a fragile alliance forged in mutual desperation. The magic system revolves around prophecy and knowledge. Sybil's ability to see the future is physically and emotionally draining, delving into the philosophical quandaries of this power. This theme is beautifully embodied in the Blood Ink libraries. They are living archives where prophecies are recorded in ink derived from the seer's own blood, binding them to the words they write. Knowledge isn't just power here, it's a burden. Our runaway knight provides the perfect foil to Sybil's worldview, forcing her to question everything she has been taught. And then there are the gargoyles, ancient enigmatic guardians of the city, who speak in riddles and offer cryptic clues. The connection between Sybil and the knight is a slow burn, built on shared vulnerability, not grand gestures. The glass moth lantern symbolizes the hope they find in each other amidst the gloom. Their mutual reticence creates longing that will have you screaming at the page. Ultimately, it's about choosing a future together, defying fate for a chance at happiness. It's a romantic resolution, proving the quietest love stories resonate the loudest. After high-stakes dragon warfare and angsty gothic mystery, let's cleanse our palates with the pinnacle of cozy fantasy. Our hero, Keela, is an introverted mage librarian whose worst nightmare is small talk. When the great library burns down, she escapes with forbidden spellbooks and her chatty spider plant. Keela flees to a remote island and opens a secret bookstore. It's a spell shop where the lonely can find what they need. Keela just wants a quiet life surrounded by books, and we love to see it. The magic system shines through small, practical, everyday magic. Keela's specialty is bottling spells. Need a little boost of courage? She can sell you a jar of captured inspiration. And this brings me to my absolute favorite part of the entire book, the Enchanted Jam. She infuses her jams with subtle magical properties. There's a marmalade that helps you remember forgotten memories, and a raspberry jam that mends minor arguments. The central conflict? A bake sale showdown with the island's rival baker? It is hilarious, heartwarming, and utterly brilliant. While the magic and the gem are delightful, the true heart of is its exploration of found family. Keela begins the story as a true loner, someone who has always preferred the company of books to people. Her quiet, ordered life in the library was a fortress against the anxieties of social interaction. Being forced out of that solitude and onto this strange sunny island is terrifying for her. She opens her shop not just as a business, but as a carefully constructed barrier, a place where she can interact with people from behind the safety of a counter. But the quirky, kind-hearted inhabitants of the island have other ideas. They are gently, persistently welcoming, slowly chipping away at the walls Keela has built around herself. There's the gruff baker who communicates through offerings of perfectly baked bread, the gossipy postwoman who always knows who needs a cheering up charm, and the shy fisherman who becomes one of Keela's first real friends. They don't force her out of her shell, but rather, they make the world outside her shell seem so warm and inviting that she can't help but peek out. Her relationship with the chatty spider plant is also a key part of her journey. The plant, named Seymour of course, is her first real confidant, the one she can voice all her fears and anxieties to without judgment. It's a slightly absurd but incredibly endearing dynamic that highlights Keela's initial struggle to connect. As the story progresses, you see her begin to share these thoughts not just with the plant, but with her new human friends as well, marking a huge step in her personal growth. The plant becomes less of a substitute for friendship and more of a beloved, leafy member of her growing family. By the end of the book, Keela's little shop has become the heart of the island community. It's more than just a place to buy spells. It's a gathering spot, a safe haven, a place where people come for advice, a cup of tea, and a sympathetic ear. Keela, the introvert who once hid from the world, finds herself at the center of a loving, supportive network of friends who have become the family she never had. It's a beautiful, gentle story about how the quietest people can build the most vibrant communities, and how home isn't a place, but the people you share it with. So there you have it. High-flying dragon riders, angsty seers in misty cities, and a magical librarian who speaks to her plants and sells enchanted jam. Dragons, prophecies, cozy magic. 2025 in fantasy truly covers every possible mood and subgenre. From the epic scale of to the quiet charm of, there is a world here for every reader to get lost in. So the big question is, which world would you survive? Or perhaps more accurately, which one would you to survive? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching and for joining me on this little tour of what's to come. I hope you're as ridiculously excited as I am to get your hands on these books. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already. And for our next deep dive, we're going to be tackling a big one, classic versus modern romantasy. We'll be putting the titans head to head, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Until then, happy reading.